What's the next thing you remember?
Waking up in the hospital with a detective asking me what I did.
The voice you have just heard belongs to Ashley Wallace, recorded on January 14th, 2009. 1 year prior, Ashley enjoyed a happy life with her sister Bree and her mother Stacey, who was not only her mother but also her closest friend. On August 13th, 2007, Ashley, then 19 years old, returned home after a fun night of drinking with her mom and headed to bed. Little did she know that her life would take a disturbing turn for the worse that night. The following morning, September 14th, Ashley was discovered unresponsive in her bed, next to an empty bottle of alcohol, prescription pills, and a letter. In that letter, Ashley confessed in explicit detail to 2 murders, David Castor and Michael Wallace, her own father. However, the problem was that Ashley did not write that letter. This event shook the quiet community of Clay in 2007, and it would unravel one of the most disturbing serial killer cases ever seen in the state of New York. Now let's travel back in time to the year 1999, in the small town of Weedsport, New York, where 11-year-old Ashley Wallace resided with her family. Her father, Michael, her mother, Stacey, and her younger sister, Bree. Ashley cherished spending time with her father, who worked as a mechanic, but her strongest bond was with her mother, Stacey. Stacey was not only Ashley's mother, but also her best friend. Ashley recalls, "Me and her could just sit out and have hour-long conversations, about anything, everything, and anything." In November 1999, Ashley remained unaware of the deteriorating relationship between her parents. Stacey had been contemplating divorce and sought guidance from a family friend named Kim. Stacey approached Kim right after Thanksgiving and confided, "Kim, I really want to leave Mike. What do I do?" Kim suggested an attorney's name, but Stacey reasoned that with the holidays approaching, it wasn't the right time. She decided to consider divorce after the new year. However, Ashley started noticing a change in her mother's behavior. Stacey grew more irritable and prone to aggression. Ashley describes the situation saying, "More of the discipline came from Stacey than my dad. The more affection came from him, and the punishing came from her." December 1999 arrived, and suddenly Michael Wallace fell ill, complaining of dizziness and spending most of his time in bed. He visited a doctor explaining that he felt intoxicated despite not having consumed any alcohol. The doctor treated him for an ear infection and sent him home. Unbeknownst to Michael, he was being poisoned. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, Michael attended a holiday dinner at his mother's place but appeared worse than ever. Ashley's Aunt Rosie recalls, "The first time that I noticed my brother, he was bloated. His face was bloated, his hands were bloated. I asked him what was wrong and he said, 'I haven't been feeling well. I got a cold.' That kind of stuff." Okay. As the days passed, Michael's condition continued to deteriorate. Then, on January 11th, 2000, Ashley's life took a disturbing turn for the worse. After returning home from school, Ashley found her father asleep on the couch, as he had been for most of the preceding weeks. Ashley recounts the moment, saying, "I came home and called my mom to let her know I was home. He was lying on the couch. I finished the call and turned on the TV. I remember him making this strange noise. He raised his arm and then brought it back down. That was the last time he moved. I left to fetch my sister, and when I returned home, Stacey had just arrived. She planned to take my dad to the doctors. I remember standing right behind her and noticing that my dad's feet were a purple color." Panicked, Michael was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The doctors did everything they could, but Michael had already passed away, apparently due to a heart attack. Ashley laments, "I spent half an hour alone with him not knowing what I know now. If I had known, I could have helped him." When asked if she wanted an autopsy conducted on her husband, Stacey declined. "Stacey, are you going to have an autopsy?" someone asked her. She looked at them and replied, "Rosie, you know he didn't like being cut up in surgery and everything like that." Then she added, "No, Michael would want us to relax, have a beer, and enjoy ourselves," referring to him in the third person. That kind of thing, not cry over him. I never quite understood why she refrained from shedding tears. Perhaps she didn't want my sister and me to witness her emotional distress. The secret surrounding Michael's death would remain buried with him. Stacey Wallace, now a widowed mother of 2 young girls, inherited a life insurance payout of $55,000 following her husband's passing. With the funds, she renovated the house and took her daughters to Disney World. returning to the carefree, fun-loving mom that Ashley had known, her best friend. At first, we really didn't like him, Ashley recalls. He made it clear he didn't want to be our father or have any parental responsibilities. He already had his own kids and didn't want more. Less than 2 years after the couple's encounter, on August 16, 2003, David and Stacey surprised everyone by getting married. The wedding caught everyone off guard, especially since none of David's family members were invited, including his own son, David Jr. They got married without telling anyone. I had no idea it was happening, Ashley reveals. Stacey Wallace became Stacey Castor, and immediately she and her daughters moved into David's Liverpool home, a significant improvement in their living conditions. While the couple basked in their newfound happiness, Ashley and Bree continued to harbor resentment towards David as their stepfather. The mounting tension made life at home a distressing ordeal. David was miserable, and my mom acted miserable. The only time they seemed happy was when my sister and I weren't around, Ashley recalls. Over time, David and the girls started to form a bond. As Ashley approached her graduation, she remained oblivious to the depth of pride her stepfather held for her. The smile on his face at my graduation party was undeniable. He was like a proud father, Ashley fondly remembers. However, while Ashley and David's relationship grew stronger, the love between Stacey and David crumbled. The couple engaged in constant arguments. Then, on August 22, 2005, 2 years after their marriage, the county sheriff's office in Syracuse, New York, received a disturbing 911 call. Stacey explained to the operator that she and David had been involved in a 7-hour argument the previous night. According to her account, David became intoxicated, locked himself in the bedroom, and refused to come out. Immediately, the operator dispatched the police to the Castor residence. When the sheriff's deputies arrive at the scene, they forcibly enter David's room to discover him lying face down on the bed, unclothed. Adjacent to the bed, on the nightstand, sits a short glass, half filled with a green liquid. Near the bed, on the floor, the police find an open bottle of antifreeze, lying on its side. Tragically, David is pronounced dead at the scene by emergency medical personnel. The circumstances of the scene suggest that David may have taken his own life by consuming a lethal dose of antifreeze after locking himself in the room. However, a sense of unease begins to gnaw at one of the deputies. My gut was telling me that something more was amiss, the deputy reflects. It just didn't feel right. While investigating further, another deputy discovers a turkey baster with green fluid inside in the kitchen trash can. This discovery raises questions. If this contains antifreeze, what is it doing in the kitchen trash when he's locked himself in the bedroom? As David's body is prepared for an autopsy, Stacey is brought in for additional questioning at the sheriff's office. She contacts Ashley to deliver the heartbreaking news. Stacey called me and she sounded upset, so I asked, What happened? And she said, David passed away. Ashley is devastated, losing yet another father figure in her life. Little does she know the true extent of her mother's dangerous nature. A wife who kills her husbands is often dubbed a Black Widow, drawing a parallel to the notorious spider known for eliminating its partners. However, Stacey Castor will take this appellation to a whole new level. While the investigation into David's death awaits further forensic analysis, Stacey remains free. Upon the reading of David's will, it becomes evident that he has bequeathed everything to Stacey: his company, house, vehicles, leaving nothing for his own son, David Jr. I don't think my name was even mentioned in it, David Jr. reveals. My initial reaction was, my father truly disliked me. I thought he was furious with me, wanting nothing to do with me and never wanting any association with me again. Stacey begins to take Ashley and her sister on trips, investing time and money in them, rekindling the desire to be their friend. The year is now 2006, 1 year after David Castor's death. Detective Spinelli receives the forensic evidence from the case. The results reveal that the turkey baster contained antifreeze with David's DNA on the tip, and the glass that held the antifreeze bears 3 fingerprints, all belonging to Stacey Castor. After 3 weeks, the jury delivers the verdict. Stacey Castor is found guilty on all counts and receives a 54-year prison sentence. Ashley feels immense relief as her innocence is recognized. Moving forward, Ashley graduates from college, builds a fulfilling life, and perseveres despite the challenges she faced. Prosecutor Fitzpatrick becomes a trusted figure in her life, promising to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day. Stacey Castor, suspected of multiple murders, including her own father's, dies in prison in 2016. Ashley and Bree's love for each other triumphs over their mother's evil deeds, allowing them to embrace a brighter future as their ultimate revenge.